Hi everyone, I'm Keltie with Back to Nature Apparel, and today I just wanted to share with you one of the really unique fostering programs that we got to be a part of, and that was fostering baby horned owlets. This was done with an organization called AWIC, and what it is these little owlets basically have been brought into AWIC, which is a rehabilitation program, and they've are at a point where they're doing what they call branching. So they go out onto a branch and they flap their wings, and sometimes they lose their balance and they fall. And unfortunately, they're too heavy for the parents to pick back up. So they either become somebody's supper, or luckily somebody picks them up and brings them into a rehab program. So anyhow, AWIC was wanting to get some sponsorship from the government to be able to put microchips into the wings of these owlets to find out where they're going, because for as many as that are born, there really isn't that many out there. And it's something they wanted to help educate the farmers, because a family of owls in a farmer's field is very beneficial to a farmer, because of course they take out a number of rodents which are very damaging to the farm equipment when they go through the fields, hitting these big huge mounds and whatnot. So very beneficial to the farmers. So they're wanting to help educate them so that they realize the importance of preserving the owl habitat within their farmlands. So with that, one of their volunteers that they have is Don James, who is very much an expert in the owl fostering field. And Don had contacted us and asked us if we would come out and photograph him while he's doing this owl fostering program that they have. So anyhow, we were excited to be a part of it. We met him up one morning, and we arrived in this field here, and Don comes along and basically has Owlet in a box, and he told me what he was going to do was that basically he was going to go over there and climb that tree up to the nest, and then he would drop a rope down to me, and I would tie it onto the backpack and put the baby owlet in it, and then he hoisted up the tree and put it into a new nest, because they don't always go back into their own nest, because lots of times we don't know where they came from. So anyhow, it was kind of interesting, because as Don was walking across the field, I says, "Don, wait, how do you pick up an owlet? I've never held an owl in my life. This is all new for me." So anyhow, he says, "Oh, Keltie," he says, "they're just like a chicken. You rub your hand under their belly, grab them by their legs, and flip them upside down." Well, I tell you, when I opened up that box and I seen those big, huge eyes looking up at me, there was no way I could flip him upside down. And of course, they can't fly yet, so he wasn't going to go anywhere anyhow. So I took him out of the box and I wrapped him up in a towel, and just before we send them up the tree to Dawn, though, what we do is we take and we put a little dab of red paint on their forehead. And we do this so that we know who they are when we go back in a day or two and we check on them to see that they've been accepted by their new fostering family. So anyhow, you'll see in some of our photos of our owl fostering, the owl with red paint on his forehead, well, you'll know who he is. So anyhow, then like I said, I put him in the backpack and tie him onto the rope, and Dawn basically hoists him up the tree. But before we do this too, actually what we do is we go out and we lay big huge tarps all around the base of the tree, because as Dawn starts to go up the tree, lots of times even the existing owlets in that nest get a little excited. The parents, of course, at this time have already left the tree. They're clacking, they're kind of making their distress calls, flying around, and we want to do this quickly so we don't stress them out very long. And so but like I was mentioning, that some of the existing baby owls will go out onto the nests or out onto the branches and flap their wings, and they could fall. And in one particular instance, it actually did happen. And so with the tarps around the base, it's nice too, because there's lots of branches and stuff, and so we don't want them to get their wings caught up if they fall and break their wings. So this little baby owl, when he fell, it was so cool, because at this point, like I said, they don't know enough to flap their wings to fly. So he's just like a giant feather when he comes down. He's just floating all the way down with his wings wide open, hits the tarp, slides off, and then I can go over, pick him up, fold his wings in, wrap him in a towel, stick him in the backpack, and up he goes again. So that was pretty cool to be able to see that happen and actually be a part of that too. So anyhow, yeah, we that particular week we did 8 owlets in a matter of a week, because we really only have a 10-day window of opportunity to do this. We have to do this at the point when the owls are just learning how to fly and how to hunt, so we can get them into a nest so their parents can teach them how to do that, because of course as humans we can't, and if we don't get them out there in time, unfortunately they'll end up staying in rehab for the rest of their life, and that's not something we want to see happen. So anyhow, as I was saying, it's a pretty amazing program. Dawn has been doing this for years, and I know I'd asked him, I says, aren't the parents confused? This morning they left home and they only had 1 or 2 owlets. Now they come back and they got 3 or 4. And he says, oh, Keltie, he says, owls can't count. And he says, but in the number of years, I think he said about 17 years that he's been doing this, he's never had a reject. For some reason, wild animals will always accept another wild animal's offspring so much easier and better than a domesticated animal like a cow or a horse. I'd also asked him too about human imprinting. These owlets basically, they must smell of humans. Do the parents not pick up on that? And he says, no, actually owls can't smell, and that's why they'll eat skunks. So that's not a problem at all. And yeah, we can see from his success rate that it's definitely a program that's very much worth preserving and helping the owls survive. So there you have it. That's our story about our owl fostering program, and we hope you enjoyed it and that you too will help do what you can to help preserve the wildlife that we have out there. Have a good day, everybody. Bye for now.